Well, hello, Buck fans, and welcome to another Buccaneer update, our last of the season with head women's basketball coach Julie Goodenough. The women's basketball team wrapped up the 2009-2010 season with their first ever postseason bid in school history. They lost in the first round of the WBI to Appalachian State, 62-47. Coach, before we talk about the game, just the thrill of getting a postseason bid, I know is something that makes you as a coach very proud, and it was something that the girls were very proud of as well.
Well, it was just an honor to be considered to play in a postseason tournament, and it all came about so quickly. It was probably really tougher mentally getting ready for that game than physically.
Sure.
We had lost out in the conference tournament and had a couple of days to sort of switch over into off-season mode, and then we get an invitation to play in postseason tournament, and it was kind of a strange week preparing for that, but it was just such an honor and such a privilege to be in a postseason tournament. It was great to play at home. We love playing in the Buck Dome. We had our typical great Buccaneer fan support that came out, and it was just a very positive experience for our program.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think it was more than the typical Buck Dome crowd. You guys had maybe the biggest crowd you've had all season long, and especially in the second half when that game got close, they were as loud and rowdy as they have been for any basketball game this season, men or women.
Well, when we came out at halftime, we were down double digits. We have a kind of a rousing halftime speech going on, and we try to kind of get ourselves together and ready to go back and compete in the second half. I come out of the locker room, and there's more people there in the second half than there were in the first half. There was a bigger crowd after halftime. So, you know, our players, they really fuel off of the energy of the crowd, and it was great to see everybody come out, and I think you're correct. It was the largest crowd we've had all year. We were just so excited. People were still interested in basketball.
Right, absolutely.
And just really came out and supported us, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Well, especially since you only had a couple of days to mobilize the troops. The game was on Thursday. You guys really didn't find out that you were hosting until Monday. So the season ends with the defeat. Getting the bid was an honor. I know it wasn't quite how you wanted it to wrap up, losing that game to Appalachian State. At the same time, though, this is something that you can build on for next year, because now the girls have a taste of what it's like to play in the postseason.
Well, absolutely, and with a tournament like the WBI, there are 3 opportunities now for teams from the Big South to be able to go into postseason play. So that's something to talk about throughout the season, and obviously we'd love to win the conference tournament and represent the Big South in the NCAA event.
Sure.
But WNIT goes to probably the regular season champion if they don't win the
Right.
tournament, and now there's the WBI, so there are 3 opportunities to go to postseason play, and that needs to be our goal now. We've kind of set a precedent with postseason play this year, and that needs to be a goal every season to have a postseason experience.
Let's reflect on the season as a whole. You had 2 second-team all-conference performers in Katie Tull and Kelsey Wasmer. Both of them got red hot from downtown at different points during the season. Katie set the all-time Big South record for threes in a year with 100. Spectacular performances all year long from both of those players.
Well, I felt like Katie was a really good leader for us on and off the floor from the very beginning of the season. She had some of her better games actually in non-conference play, carried our team, and after Christmas break we had Kelsey kind of come on board and really, I think, reach her potential offensively, but defensively as well. She became just a total player for us after Christmas. So with Katie and Kelsey both playing very well, playing better than they had in their careers here, I think it really helped elevate the level of play of our entire team. It encouraged some other players to step up their level of play. So I think the play of Kelsey and Katie, I'm trying to combine their names, Kelsey and Katie really elevated the play of our whole team.
You got an all-freshman team member in Helen Terry as well. She had her ups and downs, and most freshmen do, but still, when she was on, she was as quick a player as there was in the conference, and at times was spectacular. With 3 years ahead of her, you got to think the sky is the limit for Helen.
Well, I think that Helen's goal, her entire basketball career, has been to play at the Division I level. She's been told by a lot of Division I coaches, "You're too small, you can't play at this level," and I think that just that final postseason accolade was kind of confirmation that she can play at this level. She is a Division I player. With the injury occurring to Kiki Rutledge, Helen came on. She was our starting point guard from the beginning of the year. She and Shay kind of shared that role a little bit through conference play, but I think Helen really found herself a spot on our team. She served a great role for us. She is fearless at about maybe 5 feet, maybe stretching it, 4'11", 5 foot, just fearless, very tough-minded, tough physically, and just gave us a lot of quality minutes this year, and she was very well deserving of being included on the all-freshman team.
And as far as the rest of the supporting cast goes, Allie Schwagmeyer had some great performances, especially on the glass. Lachelle Rush exploded for 20 points in one game. She was spectacular at times. Tina De Carvalho got hot from downtown a few times. And you said after the Winthrop game to close out the regular season that you could look back at specific games where every player on your team had a role, and if not for their effort, you probably wouldn't have won that game. Beyond Katie and Kelsey and Helen, there were lots of good performances all around.
Absolutely. I think that this team, better than any team I've had here, they really understood teamwork and being accountable to their teammates. And you saw a lot of players step up in situations where they had to pull down a rebound or they had to take a charge, and they were willing to do that, and they understood how important all their contributions would be for the success of our team. And I hope that we can just carry that through off season and the summer, and bring the attitude of teamwork with us next season as we go into the next season of play.
And as you look towards next season, what are some pieces, some facets of the game that you would like to add or improve on your team so that you can take that next step next year?
Well, I tell you, the mystery for our team has been starting the game off well. Sure. I don't know why in conference play we were kind of plagued with a slow start. We got behind in the majority of our conference games. We were down at halftime. We had some heroic second halves this year that we ended up winning a lot of ball games after being down at halftime. We've got to figure out how to have that intensity and that energy from the beginning of the game. I think that the leadership of our senior class is going to be really important next year in setting a tone at the beginning of the ball games for us. Tina was our lone senior this year, and she did a great job being a leader for us and playing a lot of different roles for us. But we're going to have 4 seniors next year.
Sure.
A large senior class for us, and we expect them to be leaders through off-season, through the preseason, and get our team mentally ready to start games off. Smacking our opponents right in the face from the very beginning, being intense from the very beginning. We've got to counter that mystery that we had throughout conference play.
So you guys won 17 games, tied for the second most in program history. You won 9 conference games. You got a top 4 seed in the conference tournament, and you got the first postseason bid in school history. You mentioned Tina De Carvalho, the only senior that's gone, that will not be back next year. So with so many players back, I ask, what is the next step for this team?
I think the next step is to be consistent. We can pull out several great performances from all of our players really this year, but if we can get everyone to play a little higher level at the same time, I think our players would probably be shocked at how good our team could really be and how competitive we could be night after night after night. The consistency was not where it needed to be this year. Hopefully those freshmen as sophomores and the sophomores as juniors will just bring another level of maturity so that our team can maybe have a little more consistency throughout the season than we did this year.
You're right. If that team gets more consistent, your team, really big things could happen in the Big South Conference. As it stands, though, a fantastic season for women's basketball. Congratulations to you and your staff, your players, and we'll see you next year, hopefully.
Great. Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Julie Goodenough of the Charleston Southern women's basketball team. And like we said, spectacular season all the way around for women's basketball. That does it for this Buccaneer Update. We'll see you next time right here on CSUsports.com.